Alright guys, welcome back.
つまりサービスは今日いっぱいってわけか。
そうよ。まあここまで連れてきたのは私だし、その町に戻るぐらいまでは面倒見てあげるわ。
With that, Tosaka starts walking without looking back at us.
行きましょうシロ。彼女の言う通りここに長居するのは良くない。
I nod to Saber and follow Tosaka. The three of us descend the hill. It might be because Tosaka took the lead, but we make our way back without any conversation. There's a simple forked road ahead of us. One path leads to the main street going towards the front of Shinto Station, and the other leads to the big bridge connecting to Miyama. Tosaka stops in front of the intersection.
遠さか。なんだよ。いきなり立ち止まって。帰るなら橋の方だろ。
ううん、悪いけどここからは一人で帰って。エミヤくんにかまけてて忘れてたけど、私だって暇じゃないの。せっかくシントにいるんだから探し物の一つもして帰るわ。
探し物って他のマスターか。
そう、あなたがどう思っているか知らないけど、私はこの時をずっと待っていた。7人のマスターが揃って聖杯戦争っていう殺し合いが始まるこの夜をね。ならここでおとなしく帰るなんて選択肢はないでしょ。セイバーを倒せなかった分、他のサーバントでも仕留めないと気が済まないわ。
There is no hesitation in Tosaka's eyes. That made me realize Tosaka's a mage. Her knowledge and attitude as a mage are set. I wonder why.
だからここでお別れよ。義理は果たしたし、これ以上一緒にいると何かと面倒でしょ。きっぱり別れて、明日からは敵同士にならないと。
Why does she have this part of her that's the opposite of a mage? Tosaka didn't explain the rules out of a sense of duty. She just wanted to be fair. And after figuring out my circumstances, supported me. So now that the situation's clear, it goes back to how it was before. As a master, I'll be a target for battle from now on. Despite all that, Tosaka made sure to clear the air first. For her, everything that happened tonight was unnecessary. It'd just be a pain if we're in each other's faces. If that's how she really feels, she shouldn't have gotten involved to begin with. But she isn't dumb, so she must have known this is how it would go. And yet still she helped out, all without thinking about cost or benefit. The Tosaka in front of me is so different from the one I see at school. Even putting it nicely, she's harsh and cranky. Yeah, a real sourpuss. And so different from what she normally projects that it makes me want to scream. What's up with the way you act at school? Man, she almost seems like a fraud. Yet, still, Tosaka Rin is also exactly how everyone thought she was.
ああ、遠さかいいやつなんだな。
は？何よ突然。おだてたって手は抜かないわよ。
I know that. Because she won't go easy on me, it'll be a pain to also be on the lookout for me. That's what she's saying.
知ってる。けど、できれば敵同士にはなりたくない。俺、お前みたいなやつは好きだ。
Yeah, cause you're cool, Tosaka. For some reason, Tosaka falls silent. These deserted suburbs, the church that looms in the distance, and the stillness of the foreigner cemetery that spreads over the hill feel strangely warm now.
とにかくサーバントがやられたら迷わずさっきの教会に逃げ込みなさいよ。そうすれば命だけは助かるんだから。
ああ、気が引けるけど一応聞いておく。けどそんなことにはならないだろう。どう考えてもセイバーより俺の方が短命だ。
うん。
Tosaka reacts strangely again. She lets out a deep sigh as if she's fed up with me and glances at Saber.
いいわ。これ以上の忠告は本当に感情移入になっちゃうから言わない。 せいぜい気をつけなさい。いくらセーバーが優れているからってマスターであるあなたがやられちゃったらそれまでなんだから。
Tosaka turns around and starts walking towards Shinto. However, she stops dead in her tracks after she saw a ghost.
ねえ、お話は終わり?
Oh, Ilya. A youthful voice echoes through the night. The sing-song voice is unmistakably that of a young girl. My line of sight focused on the top of the hill. There. I don't know when the sky's cleared, but the moon shines brightly in the night. The shadow is long and monstrous, like a demon in a picture book. Amidst the silhouette of the townscape through the late night gloom, something terrible stands. Ooh.
まさか。
Tosaka mumbles a word that I'm not familiar with. Even if I don't know what it means, I can tell that the giant is something different altogether. That thing isn't human. Then, it's one of the beings called servants, just like Saber and the others.
こんばんは、お兄ちゃん。こうして会うのは2度目だね。
The girl says, smiling. The innocent sends a chill down my spine. The dissonance between her and that monstrous shape behind her makes me feel like I'm living a nightmare. What I said earlier about a chill down my spine is underselling it. The chill reaches every part of me, deep into my consciousness. That thing is a monster. I'm not even looking directly at it, but its very presence is making it hard to move.
驚いた。単純な能力だけならセイバー以上じゃない、あれ。
She clicks her tongue and glares at the monster above us. From her back alone, I can tell she's just as terrified as I am, but also determined not to lose to that thing.
あーちゃん、あれは力押しでなんとかなる相手じゃない。ここはあなた本来の戦い方に徹するべきよ。
Her voice is barely more than a whisper. The unmaterialized knight gives his response.
了解した。だが守りはどうする？リンではあれの突進は防げまい。
こっちは3人よ。しのぐだけなら何とでもなるわ。
He must have nodded to that. The presence hanging around Tosaka vanishes instantly.
エミヤ君、逃げるか戦うかはあなたの自由よ。けど、できるなら何とか逃げなさい。相談は済んだ。なら、始めちゃっていい？
A playful laugh. The girl gives a polite bow, incongruous to this entire situation.
はじめまして、リン。私はイディア。イリアスフィール・フォン・アインツベルって言えばわかるでしょ？アインツベル。
She seems familiar with the name and wavers in place. The girl smiles happily in response to Tosaka's reaction and says,
じゃあ殺すね。やっちゃえ、バーサーカー。
a little too happy to be quoting that right now, you know? She croons to the monster behind her. The gigantic figure flies through the air. This berserker comes tearing down from the top of the hill almost faster than I can follow.
シロ、下がって。
In the moonlight, a shower of bullet things rain onto the unrushing giant like shooting stars. So this is supernatural accuracy at work. The silver lights peppering the giant are arrows. That's probably underselling it though. It's more like strafing fire from a machine gun. Each blow is powerful enough to pierce the bedrock. 8 shots of that. The barrage is more than powerful enough to reduce a house to smoking rubble. But not Berserker!
嘘、聞いていない。
Dude is tanking it. The giant is completely unaffected. The two swords clash. The massive sword wielded by the Berserker amid a hail of arrows, and the sword of Saber, who rushes to meet him, collide with a deafening clang, sending sparks flying. two blades strain against each other. In spite of Berserker's overwhelming strength, Saber does not give ground. Silver lights flash through the darkness. Just how much magical energy is stored inside the small body of hers? She's clearly weaker, but she doesn't budge an inch. She blocks, parries, and cuts through the whirlwind of attacks from the giant's massive sword. The spectacle takes my breath away, and I'm not alone in that. Tosaka and the giant's master stand beside me, watching in fascination as the fight unfolds. Another silver light flashes across the battlefield in response to Tosaka's command. It drives viciously into the giant's temple. Archer's arrow impacts the giant with all the force of an artillery shell. No matter how strong that giant might be, there's no way that won't do some real damage. Saber follows up with a slash from her invisible sword. However, a savage counterattack strikes with such force that Saber is sent flying. Saber slides across the asphalt. The black whirlwind surges after her. Silver lights burst all around in attempts to obstruct the whirlwind. Brother, deflects it, man. It does nothing. 3 arrows strike the giant's forehead with perfect precision, only to disappear. The giant does not stop. Saber catches his attack on her blade. My scream does nothing. The sheer force of Berserker's blow is such that, even though Saber blocks it, she slams to the ground with a tremendous thud. Is she feeling dizzy? Saber's on her knees, not moving. The girl's voice echoes across the battlefield. The black giant charges towards Saber with a terrifying speed. Tosaka yells as she starts running. She must be intending to help Saber. Tosaka runs up the hill and takes what looks like a giant hand. Giant's rock in hand. She throws obsidian stones into the air and a storm of silver light rains from the sky. The attack doesn't even slow Berserker's charge. Monster. Even I can see how absurdly strong he is now. Strong isn't even big enough word for that monster. He must be protected by some kind of law of immortality woven with an insane amount of magical energy. The girl's voice carries clearly to me. The giant swings his huge sword, and Saber blocks bravely, but the force of the blow flings her away once again. She's blown away dozens of meters up the hill. Saber is sent in a perfectly straight line like a pitcher's fastball before smashing into the barren road. She must be dead. She might have survived one blow, but there's no way she's okay after receiving 2 blows from that giant's large sword. No chance. The dark whirlwind surges toward her. It's already over. Hasn't that thing had enough? Still, the monstrous thing charges across the barren road. She's gonna die. Even if somehow Saber is still alive, she'll die here and now. And, so long as I'm here, I'm dead too. I can't see Tosaka, but I can hear her. She went after Berserker. Even after this monster is unscathed from so many powerful attacks, she means to keep fighting it? Oh, choice time. Okay, hold on a second. Let's do a little bit of a wonderful save here. Excellent. Okay. I'm definitely not staying. I will not do as Tosaka says, and we are going after them. I couldn't do anything even if I wanted to. I know that. But even now, I can still feel her hand in mine. I told her we should do our best. She shook my hand when I offered it. So,
ああもうそんなの決まってるじゃないか。
if I climb up this hill and chase after the giant, I'll be killed. I suppress a tremble and sprint up the hill as fast as I can.
セイバー
I run into the barren land. And then, what I see defies all expectation. A tombstone goes flying. Every time the giant roars and swings his massive sword, he splits tombstones in two. In the midst of that, a knight dashes, undaunted, through the storm of tombstones. That monstrous cleaver weaves a raging storm around the giant. Tombstones crash together in a deafening cacophony. In the center of that storm, Saber fights Berserker, matching his power, if not exceeding it. Their positions have reversed. She's using her much smaller size to her advantage. Berserker is so large that he's hindered by all the obstacles around them. Saber's able to move around freely, darting between them. These obstacles are trivial to something as strong as Berserker, but it's more than nothing. It's a small advantage, and in a battle like this, even that small advantage is tipping the balance in the other direction now.
こっち前に出るととばっちり食らうわよ。何考えてんのよあんた。逃げろって言ったでしょ。それとも何、もしかして聞こえなかったわけ。
She is absolutely fuming.
いや聞こえてたけどそういうわけにもいかないだろう。
はあ、なんでそういうわけにもいかないなんて結論が出るのよ。エミヤ君は戦う手段がないんだから、いるだけ邪魔ってわからない。いろいろやって死ぬんならしょうがないけど、何もせずにやられちゃったら無駄死にってもんじゃない。
I don't know why, but Tosaka is furious. Really, I'm not upset about how she's yelling at me.
まあそれ遠坂が怒ることか。別に俺が無駄死にしようと遠坂には関係ないだろう。
He's not really wrong about that either.
関係あるわよ。今日一杯は見逃してあげるって言ったんだから、ちゃんと家に帰ってもらわないと困るの、私が。
And now I'm even more confused. Tosaka really puts up a front at school.
たく、とにかくまだ無事なんだから今のうちに逃げなさい。あのイリアスフィールってガキ、本気で私たちを皆殺しにするつもりだろうから。
それは分かってるけど逃げられるわけないだろう。セイバーがああして戦ってるんだ。俺が離れるわけにはいかない。
それは一人前のセリフよ。何の援護もできないあなたがいても無駄死にするだけでしょ。これが最後よ。いいから早く逃げなさい。
そんなことあるもんか。体がある限りできることはあるはずだ。それにな遠坂、自分にできないことを人にやらせる気かお前。
Tosaka stares at me, her expression serious.
そうね。自分にできないことをあなたに強制するなんて恥知らずはこっちだった。
She looks away.
まあ確かに逃げる必要はないかもね。あの調子じゃセイバーは負けないだろうし。
Tosaka appears at the cemetery from behind a tree. Their battle continues unchanged. Berserker's attacks slash only empty air, tearing apart surroundings like a tornado. Between those attacks, within the swirling whirlwind and flying clods, and rain of broken tombstones, Saber steps in closer to Berserkers and attacks without even scratching her armor. This is divine, like nothing I've ever seen. After witnessing a battle that is nearly impossible for humans, the fear I felt until now disappears. In fact, I'm fascinated. The whole thing about the Holy Grail War hadn't really sunk in yet, and I was so anxious. After seeing her, all that just fades away. Swords dance around each other in violent, brutal arcs. At the center of that whirlwind of failed destruction, the knight challenges her enemy without hesitation. Maybe this is what made me accept it all. No matter what may wait in the future, with Saber at my side, I could fight even a god.
やっぱりね。怪しいとは思ったけど、バーサーカーの剣を受けたのはわざとだったわけか。
Quietly, Tosaka mutters without emotion.
それはバーサーカーをここに誘い込むためか。
分かってるじゃない。遮蔽物のない場所であれと戦うのは自殺行為よ。だからこそセイバーは戦場にこの場所を選んだ。それも自然にエミヤ君からバーサーカーを遠ざけながらあくまで追い詰められたふりをしてね。
That would mean Saber must have decided this was a good place to fight as far back as when we were walking down the hill.
もちろんこんな戦いになったら援護は期待できない。けど相手はアーチャーの野菜無効化する怪物だもの。援護なんて初めっから無意味なのよ。
Tosaka mutters while watching the battle between Saber and Berserker.
アーチャー。いや、
Those words get my attention. Archer's nowhere to be seen. If he is a bowman, as his name suggests, then close combat probably isn't his thing, but... Tosaka snaps her fingers. Just as she said, either Saber must have struck Berserker or he must have lost his footing. Berserker, who hadn't so much as faltered until now, loses his balance. He unleashes a wild attack in desperation. Saber dodges backward and grips her sword with both hands. This is it. As his desperate attack is dodged, Berserker loses his balance completely, and Saber bends her knee to rush in with all her might. Then...
アーチャー離れろってどういうこと？
I notice the confusion in Tosaka's voice as she tilts her head. Then I sense the lethal intent aimed in this direction, from far away. From behind, I see a knight in red holding a bow on a rooftop hundreds of meters away. It's either nausea or chills. He's holding a bow. It's no different from before. Even if he aims perfectly, it won't do any damage, so there's no sense feeling so threatened by it. But I get chills anyway. He's knocked. It's not an arrow. It's something else. That intent to kill isn't directed solely at Berserker.
Say!
My legs move. This one's tough. Call her back.
ダメだ！戻れ、セイバ
I hear my voice shouting at Saber before I even realize what I'm doing.
マスター
Saber steps slow, as if she heard my command. But it's not enough. She won't get away in time.
危険です。もっと後ろに下がって。
ー！バカ！危ないのはそっちだ！とにかくこっちに！
I reach my hand out to Saber.
私が
She must have understood. Saber turns from Berserker and dashes away from the battlefield as fast as she can. Just as Saber retreats, Archer fires his arrow. Saber jumps clear like sparks from a flame, and Berserker rushes after her. Archer's attack impacts between the two of them at the center of the battlefield. But until now, his shots have done nothing. Saber approaches as if those arrows aren't even worth dodging. But just then... the giant turns his back to us, attacking the incoming projectile with furious intensity. In that instant, sound fades entirely. I throw myself onto Saber and brace. I must have gone deaf. I can't hear a thing. But I can feel the vibrations in the air shaking my body and heat searing my skin. The blast kicks up all kinds of debris, and I feel something stab into my back. I grit my teeth and brace myself. The white flash of light must have lasted only an instant. Somehow, I survived. Saber is clearly stunned by what she's seen. So am I. I have no idea what happened. I just know that Archer's attack wreathed the entire cemetery in flames. At the explosion's center is a smoking crater. That's the extent of his attack's destructive force. In the heart of it all, the incredible destruction stands the giant, still alive.
まさかランク A に該当する宝具を受けてなお無傷なんて。
The strength seems to have gone from Saber's voice. Sparks flutter in the dark night air. The giant stands, motionless, in the flames while all present look on in stunned silence. The only sound to be heard in the soft crackling of the flames, just when I thought the flames might grow out of control. A strange metal. Something rolls toward me, clanging across the rubble-strewn ground.
Ken?
No, it's an arrow. An arrow with a luxurious hilt and spiral blade. It was a sword, I think, but it was used as an arrow. I'm not sure why it captures my attention so much. The arrow's berserker smashes aside disappear, as if simply melting away. They fade without leaving a trace, like candle wax melting in flames. That makes me nauseous for no reason.
シロ、今のは。
アーチャーの嫌だ。それ以外はわからない。
I look up and see Archer in the distance. I can't possibly see that far. I can't see it, but somehow, I do. He's smiling. He's smiling as if to say he hadn't just been aiming at Berserker.
あいつ。
I have a headache. The chills running down my spine don't stop. My spine's burning and I feel like throwing up. Almost like the time I failed to create a magic circuit.
ふーん、見直したわ、リン。やるじゃない、あなたのアーチャー。
The girl's cheerful voice drifts across the battlefield to us, but I'm not sure where from.
いいわ、戻りなさい、バーサーカー。つまらないことは初めに済まそうと思ったけど、少し予定が変わったわ。
The dark shadow wavers. The giant obeys the girl's voice and retreats to the flames.
何よ、ここまでやって逃げる気？ええ、気が変わったの。セイバーはいらないけど、あなたのアーチャーには興味が湧いたわ。だから、もうしばらくは生かしておいてあげる。
It's funny that you're interested in her archer, Ilya. It's very funny indeed. The giant disappears. The girl in white giggles.
それじゃあ、バイバイ。また遊ぼうね、お兄ちゃん。
With those as her parting words, she disappears on the other side of the flames. And just like that, she's gone. I'm sure Tosaka doesn't actually plan to go after her, despite what she said. Even I can tell that girl just let us go. I can't imagine Tosaka seeking out a fight like that. It'd be too reckless.
助かりました、マスター。あなたが声をかけてくれなければ、私もアーチャーの宝具に巻き込まれていた。
ああ、それは。
I try to say I was glad to help.
マスター、
What's wrong with me? I'm not badly hurt, but I don't feel well. I think I'm starting to...
エミヤ君？何、顔が真っ青じゃない、あなた。
マスター、シロ。
I fall onto my knees. Suddenly, my vision goes white.
しっかり。何があったのです、一体。
I feel someone catch me as I fall. But that feeling fades abruptly as most of my senses simply cut out. All that's left is this throbbing,